Hello, welcome to the Bloomberg Tech Summit. I'm Caroline Hyde.
And I'm Ed Ludlow. We are in the heart of San Francisco for this event, which is focused on the way technology fuels business.
We've brought together leaders from across tech and business to discuss how executives, entrepreneurs and investors can create opportunities as they navigate the hazards and challenges of today's business world.
The race for artificial intelligence supremacy is upon us, fueling growth in infrastructure, investment, and efficiency. In other areas of business, quantum computing is inching closer to commercial use. Robots are entering the workforce.
Hi, Spot!
And everything from cyber threats to deep fakes are more sophisticated. At the same time, Silicon Valley has new allies in Washington, and these voices are shaping policy, influencing capital, and shaking up global relations.
Yes!
A new era is upon us, an era defined by explosive technological innovations, but also profound economic uncertainty.
They charge us, we charge them.
Who will lead the next wave? How will businesses thrive and adapt? And where can technology help push us forward?
Artificial intelligence is the single most important technology force of our time.
The rate and pace of change in the industry, it's like faster than anything we've ever seen.
You got to dream and execute,
At the forefront of nearly every conversation, artificial intelligence. From strategy to execution, AI is transforming how business gets done. And to kick things off, Bloomberg's Emily Chang sat down with Google CEO Sundar Pichai.
So investors are clamoring to know, but you haven't shared the specifics. How much money are you pouring into AI, and how much money are you actually making from AI?
Well, I mean, in 2025, our CapEx is $75 billion, right? So we are definitely investing for the long run. But, you know, it's the same investment which powers businesses from search to YouTube to cloud to workspace to Android and Play to Waymo, right? So I think it's such a profound technology. I feel the opportunity ahead is bigger than the opportunity we had in the past.
YouTube and the web more broadly is being overrun with AI-generated content. What effect is that having on Google products and services? Are you finding you need to allocate more resources to filter out the low-quality content?
I mean, look, anytime there are these technological inflection points, it's always a cat and mouse game, right? So the new technology creates new opportunity, more people can create content, but you also have a rise in low-quality content. I think moments like this is what we actually, it's what Google is good at, right? Separating, finding the needle in the haystack, making sure you surface the higher quality content. We are using Gemini to help improve YouTube's recommendations. Mm-hmm. So we are using AI to help improve how we direct content, etc. You know, there are good content being created using AI as well. So we're just trying to elevate high quality content.
You've said AI overviews are good for publishers. The publishers we talk to say it's tragic. Publishers say they can't opt out or they might be de-indexed from Google entirely. So what is the concrete evidence that this is actually good for them and not just good for Google?
A few things. I mean, I think compared to most companies in the world, we take care to design experiences which is going to showcase links, right? And we took a long time testing AI overviews and prioritized approaches which result in high quality traffic out. Mm-hmm. I'm confident that many years from now, that's how Google will work, right? Like, you know, we think the value proposition in Google is people come. Yes, sometimes they may get answers. That was true when we launched featured snippets many years ago. But people come back, people are curious, people are expanding their use cases, and people do seek out sources on the web. And we are going to prioritize approaches. Obviously, with AI overviews, the quality improves, the context we are giving users improve. Mm-hmm. What we are seeing is people are clicking and going to a more diverse set of websites, and they're spending more time on average per click.
I've heard you say a few times that you think of AI as an expansionary moment, but so far it does seem to be favoring tech giants and well-funded startups with access to GPUs and data centers and enormous amounts of capital. Like, isn't this really concentrating power in fewer hands? And is AI just another winner-take-all game?
I'm confident there is a company that's going to be created with AI, just like when the internet happened. Many years after the internet happened, Google didn't exist. There's no doubt to me that 3 years from now, there'll be a company which will be dominant in this AI age, which we don't even know the name of today.
Yeah.
That's the only way things work in the future.
For those who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about what Perplexity is?
So Perplexity is an answer machine. You get answers that you can really trust. We were the first to reimagine search in the form of conversations and answers with trusted sources. And we did it in a way that essentially became the blueprint for every other chatbot out there. And so we kind of essentially built it as a tool we wanted, and our friends wanted it, our investors wanted it, and then we put it out into the world. Never thought about it as like links, 10 blue links to answers. But once we put it out, that's when we realized, based on what people are saying, hey, this is actually a much better way to consume the internet. Yeah. We're all living on the internet, and so I would rather just feel the internet through answers instead of links.
Got it. So yeah, you guys were really one of the first AI companies to do real-time AI search, focused on that and linking back. Now everyone's doing that, right? Including Google, including OpenAI. So what are you doing to differentiate, and why do you think browsers are the next frontier for successful AI companies?
The browser is the front end to your internet, like experiencing the internet. The Omnibox, the search box, is where almost all the Google queries are going. And if you really want to transition AI from answers to actions, to doing stuff for you, answers are essentially 4 or 5 searches in one. Actions are an entire browsing session in one prompt. You really need to actually have a browser and hybridize the compute on the client and the server side in the seamless way possible. And that calls for rethinking the whole browser. We're not actually thinking about Comet as yet another browser. It'll be a cognitive operating system. It'll be there for you every time, anytime, for work or life, as an assistant on the side, or just going and doing browsing sessions for you. And I think that'll fundamentally make us rethink how we even think about the internet. Earlier we would browse the internet, but now people are increasingly living on the internet. A lot of our life actually exists there. And if you want to build a proactive, personalized AI, it needs to live together with you. And that's why we need to rethink the browser entirely. So investors are excited about the possibility of completely changing the front end in which we experience the whole web. And the web is so valuable. And the other thing that's most important to consider about Perplexity is we're the only company razor focused on all the accuracy aspects of AI. We really want us to be the accuracy layer for AI, and that's going to influence both human and AI decision making. And every day, trillions of dollars worth of decisions are made across retail, finance markets, exchanges, everything. And if we can influence a big chunk of that, then that'll automatically means we can be worth trillions of dollars in market cap one day.
I think the convergence, not just of the hardware investments, but the AI investments in particular, have been the real watershed for us in helping people understand why we've always believed having these devices be wearable and having sensors and having context in the world around you has been so important. And it's oh yeah, of course, now that you realize there's going to be a potentially super intelligent assistant that's operating there, you want it to have, for free, all the context on what you've heard, what you've seen, what you're doing, so it can help you the most out as you go about your day and try to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. So we feel a lot of vindication on that. I think the question is, yeah, will it be us? Will it be a competitor? That depends on our execution and their execution. I have a lot of confidence that the paradigm that we're in right now, which has been stable for a long time, right? The phone that you all have in your pockets now is roughly the same as the phone you had in your pocket 4 or 5 years ago. There's not really a lot of new innovation happening at that scale. There is a lot of things. The phone is the greatest consumer electronic device ever built, and yet there's also a lot of things that we wish it could do better or different. And I think with AI and integrated context with the world around us, that becomes more and more obvious. So I'm very confident that the paradigm will shift in that time frame. And you all know the saying, we get a lot less done in 1 year than we think and a lot more done in a decade. That really is going to be true, I think, when it comes to these shifts. I hope that when people are using our technology, our hardware, I want the experience of it not to be the hardware. I want the experience of it to be connecting with each other, connecting and being more capable, connecting with superhuman memory and vision and hearing that allows you to accomplish your goals more. Like that, it still should be an experience that is a software motivated experience, but that would not be possible without this hardware.
Up next, the fun stuff, new technology and how it is impacting our lives.
I mean, AI changed the game for us because instead of having an engineer program what Digit would do, AI can now help teach it skills.
This is Bloomberg Tech Summit in San Francisco. I'm Ed Ludlow.
And I'm Caroline Hyde. Throughout history, breakthrough technologies have consistently shaped the way businesses make decisions, fueling innovation, boosting efficiency, and sharpening competitive edge across industries.
From the steam engine and electricity to computers and the internet, each wave of advancement has redefined how companies operate, adapt, and grow.
So what's next? To help answer that, we begin with Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi and Bloomberg's Tom Giles.
The power we see in the Uber platform continues to increase. Now, what I mean by that is we have a relationship with you on the ride side. A lot of you using Uber to come here. Thank you very much. And then our Uber Eats business is almost as large as our Uber Rides business and growing very, very quickly and accelerating, if anything. And looking at a customer right now, the way the business was built, we essentially had a mobility business, a delivery business, and it was almost like two businesses interacting with you as a customer. And now the focus for us is really moving to lifetime interaction with a customer, looking at you not just as an Uber customer, Uber Eats customer, but overall as an Uber customer, and how do we continue to build that relationship.
I want to spend a little bit of time talking about your relationship with autonomous vehicles.
Yeah, sure.
It's up and down for Uber over the years. What's the strategy?
So we want to essentially support the AV ecosystem and continue to help that ecosystem develop, and then AVs penetrate into the marketplace. AV, we think, represents a safer way of transportation. Ultimately, we think it'll expand the marketplace as it makes kind of safe transportation in cities available to everybody. So we're big fans of AV. These are technologies that are unbelievably promising, but they've taken billions of dollars to develop and 10 plus years. And it's one of those overnight successes that's kind of taken 20 years of development, but is finally ready to hit market, and we want to help the ecosystem get there.
As we head toward an increasingly AV future, I know you've been asked about this before, but what are some of the new ways that you're seeking to overcome that challenge of reassuring drivers, who are still an incredibly important part of your ecosystem,
very much
that you have their backs, but we also love these Waymos that have no driver in them?
Very much so. So one is growth helps a lot. Right, so our business is growing almost 20% a year, and on average, we're going to need more drivers on the platform for the next couple of years, and I see that continuing for some period of time. So I think drivers generally on our platform are going to be more busy, are going to have more to do, and the number of drivers on our platform and couriers on our platform is going to grow. That's one. The second, though, is we're putting significant efforts in creating more work and earnings opportunities for drivers and couriers, right? We started with driving, we went to delivery, now you can actually shop, and there's a subsegment of couriers, et cetera, who will love their local Walmart, for example, or Albertsons, and shop in those stores. Or for Walmart, we deliver those packages. And now we're actually going further, where we're developing now what we call Uber AI solutions, where drivers are actually now labeling maps, translating language, looking at AI answers and grading AI answers. So, one way to look at Uber is that we are essentially a transportation platform. We'll help you go anywhere, get anything. Another way to look at Uber is that we are the largest on-demand work platform on Earth. And the first use case for us is actually transportation. And now we're expanding use cases into other use cases, and knowledge work is one of them. So I think as long as we grow, as long as we are honest with our drivers and couriers in terms of their expectations, and now expand the number of opportunities to them, I think we'll be more than fine.
I mean, humanoid robots might be the only thing hotter than generative AI right now. Just predictions of like $1 trillion industry by 2050. How confident are you that this is the moment?
So it's happening. We have actually had Digit working in a commercial environment for a year. Actually, it was a year ago today. But what's happened, it's been a convergence of a lot of things. There's been better batteries. We're getting ready to put a 10-to-1 ratio, work-to-charge ratio in Digit. So you can charge it for 10 minutes, it can operate for 100 minutes, it can work all day long that way. Obviously, AI. AI changed the game for us because instead of having an engineer program what Digit would do, AI can now help teach it skills. It's much faster to learn new skills and at a much lower cost. And then just the actuators themselves, which are the motors that move all the limbs, there's been a lot of good innovation in that area. So all of that's come together now to make this a reality.
Peggy, Digit has legs, has arms, has eyes on a head. I mean, these are things that evolution has given us probably to like run away from bears, right? So why is a humanoid form an optimum form for a robot in a warehouse or on an assembly line?
Right, so we think of it as being human-centric. We are not trying to rebuild a human. We're not doing biomimicry, for instance, and just making a human form, because it doesn't always mean that's the right form for environments like this. But our world is built for humans. So there's narrow aisles, shelving goes up about as high as humans can reach overhead, and that's what makes a human-centric device really the right device for environments like this.
Help us imagine what a whole new genre of AI device might look like.
Yeah, so I think starting with the question of like what makes it possible for there to be a new device, the way I think of it is you need reasons to have new I/O, right? Like if the form factor is, well, I have a phone and I can take it out and like use applications when I need them and it has all these amazing functions, then Apple or Google or somebody who makes phones today should probably do that, right? If the form factor is anything like, well, in a way that a consumer is comfortable with, I'm going to have full context on what's happening in your life for as much as you'll give me. Everything you hear, everything you say, the ability to talk to it all the time, vision. I think that's an incredibly hard set of problems to go figure out. If you imagine that actually changes the hardware spec, right? Your phone is not designed for even just like a basic thing like battery power. It's not designed to listen to you all the time.
But aren't you describing an Alexa or a Google Home?
No, I think the Alexa is designed to be stationary in one setting. I spend most of my time at work. I don't know about you guys. Like when I'm home, I'm hanging with my kids and my spouse and sleeping, right? So I think that the idea of the personal device as the most important thing in our technology world has held true so far, and I think that's possible in AI.
Do you think something we wear?
Yes, I think that is the most logical view of it. The couple working theses that people have are something like a pen or a set of glasses.
Up next, the tech arms race that is reshaping the future of business, security, and society itself.
As a country, we definitely have to keep winning in these technologies, and the government has an important role to play in making sure we can unlock this for the American people.
This is the Bloomberg Tech Summit in San Francisco. I'm Caroline Hyde.
And I'm Ed Ludlow. The United States and China are locked in an intense arms race, one where the weapons are not missiles or tanks, but cutting-edge innovations in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and advanced manufacturing.
As each country races to outpace the other, they are reshaping international norms, raising ethical concerns, and fueling debates over security, privacy, and global governance. That's where we'll start, with White House tech advisor Michael Kratsios and Bloomberg's Shireen Ghaffari.
I deeply believe that policy actually plays a very, very important role in how quickly the United States can continue to lead and accelerate and win in these core technologies. Whether it's drones doing commercial delivery, whether it's supersonics flying again, whether it's nuclear power plants being approved by the NRC, these are all sort of regulatory decisions that have to be made by government. And you can have the greatest technology in the world that you've invented in your garage or even attempted to scale. But for many cases, unless the government gives you approval, you can't actually commercialize those. And as a country, we definitely have to keep winning in these technologies, and the government has an important role to play in making sure we can unlock this for the American people.
Any lessons that you learned from Silicon Valley that you're trying to bring to government?
I mean, government is certainly not known for moving quickly or being particularly agile, but especially when it comes to creating a regulatory environment which supports and encourages innovation in America, the people working on it have to be looking around the corner. They have to understand that a new technology is happening, and the way that a current regulation is written or the way that a statute is currently drafted, there's going to be a problem that's coming around the bend, and it's really important that you kind of get in front of those.
So your mandate is to make sure that the U.S. stays ahead on AI. With the launch of DeepSeek, right, this winter, that was a wake-up call for everyone about just how close Chinese AI is to that here in the U.S. What are you doing to maintain that lead, and how are you doing that as you're also dealing with restrictions on student visas, on immigration that do impact the talent pipeline here in Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I think in reality it was a wake-up call that the policies of the last 4 years ultimately didn't make a difference in ensuring that the U.S. maintains its leadership position. For many years, we heard that the specific export control regime that was put in place by the prior administration that was extraordinarily bespoke and detailed, these like 1,000-page rules that were being put out by the Commerce Department restricting very specific rules because very specific chips and tools, that was the way that we were going to slow down what the PRC was trying to do. In reality, that didn't happen. What we saw just a few weeks after we were inaugurated was DeepSeek coming into place. And I think what that shows is the imperative of both a promote and protect strategy. If you are singularly focused on trying to do the protect piece, which is trying to identify the tooling and the chips that you want to restrict from China, that alone is not enough. Should we continue to explore that and make sure that we're not giving someone who has, declared to the world they want to surpass us the tools they need? Absolutely. But at the same time, you have to accelerate and push forward U.S. innovation and dominance. And what that means is continue to invest in research and development around artificial intelligence. Think about how you can remove regulatory barriers to AI innovation. Do not create a culture where AI innovators believe that they're going to be regulated out of existence. And I think third, and most importantly, it's a big focus of our agenda, is the adoption question. How can we, as a government, encourage adoption across the country writ large? Because even if we have the very, very best model in the world that's leading on every benchmark you can imagine, if the government isn't using it, if the DoD isn't using it, if the intelligence community isn't using it, if American consumers aren't using it, if American industry isn't using it, why does it even matter that we have the best model? So adoption is so key to driving that leadership position.
We say to our allies, AI is existential. It is existential to your national security, to your economic security, to everything about your country. But guess what? We're not going to give it to you, right? We're saying we're not going to give you our chips. We're not going to give you our models. That was a path to ruin because China's not that far behind, and you would have had the China AI stack literally run the world. When you say to China, AI is existential, but you can't have any of our chips, it forces them into the corner to have to make a move on Taiwan, which would be devastating for the world, devastating, I think, for China, devastating for the U.S. There's no need to do it. We need to get our supply chain out of Taiwan. It's going to take us 4 years to do it. So if we want to pick this fight, rare earths over chips, do it in 4 years. Do not do it now.
That's it from the Bloomberg Tech Summit here in San Francisco.
You can get more on the Bloomberg Terminal and Bloomberg.com. With Ed Ludlow, I'm Caroline Hyde. This is Bloomberg.